Good afternoon and welcome to the November 18th meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority. May we have roll call, please?
Yes. Housing Authority members Ajinyan,
Here.
Karpetian,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Parazian,
Here.
Cherasatrian, and Vice Chair Butman.
Here. And what is next? We'll take your report.
Yes. The agenda for November 18th, 2025 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on November 13th, 2025 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Okay, and our first and only item?
Our first and only item is the approval of minutes of the Glendale Housing Authority meeting of August 19th, 2025. And we
We have a card on the minutes?
we have a card on the minutes, yes.
Oh, okay. Why don't you call the speaker up?
The speaker is Beth Brooks. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, I never commented on the minutes before. I thought it was, interesting to actually read the minutes. But when I did read the minutes, I found that I didn't always come to the Housing Authority meetings anymore because it was like, speaking to a wall. But I saw that there's a proposal that Ellen would like to bring back the Housing Summit, which I thought was very, very interesting to sort of discuss and connect with Burbank and Pasadena and talk about programs we need. And I thought to myself, have you met for all these years and you don't know what programs we need? Are you actually going to have a meeting to discuss what you should know already? This kind of procedural putting action off is so disrespectful to the community. It's so disrespectful. You have no idea. I actually found on Nextdoor, I was looking up somebody I read on Nextdoor, I actually found, I've been talking about this for more than a year. Parental assistance. And to read in the minutes that you need a summit, I think you know what you need to do. I really do. I think it's really time for action. So to read that was very, very disturbing, especially the line in the minutes where, and we will talk about we will basically congratulate ourselves about the good things we did, which actually I actually agree with. But you cannot have people struggling so much and think that you should have a summit. This is not acceptable. And I'm here because I didn't come for a long time. But after reading that, now I'm reactivated now, seriously reactivated. And I'm gonna talk about this on such a level you have no idea. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Chair Brotman. I understand the frustration that the speaker may feel based on the limited, perhaps, information or understanding. And the idea of the summit was something that I initiated when I was Housing Authority Chair, and the purpose for it, in part, was to have a discussion that includes individuals who are involved in the development of housing, people who are following policy trends from different institutions like USC, UCLA. There's been a number of reports as to, we mentioned here, and I think you and others perhaps brought up the issue of affordability continuously, but also we have people who raise the issue of, well, why aren't we building condominiums, or why can't the construction that is happening in Glendale be higher than 8 stories, right? There's explanations for all of that. There's, I think, an opportunity to have better understanding. One of the places we can do that is here in these forums, but also there's other individuals that we need to work with, understand from. And quite honestly, yes, we should have meetings with our neighboring cities because I believe, and I don't know if staff can confirm this, but in the past, it's been the case that we've built more affordable housing than either of our neighboring cities have. In fact, in the last regional housing needs assessment, Glendale met the requisite number of units that we were supposed to build, and our neighboring cities did not. So it is an opportunity to say, yes, we're doing well, you need to do better. Because otherwise, now we're being forced to build even more density, which is receiving concerned reactions from the community, as you've noted. But we need to have these discussions and have opportunities for people to speak to each other to find out what they're doing and what we can do more of or less of, depending on what our neighbors may be working on. So that's part of it. We welcome all input. I certainly do. But I hope that clarifies it a little bit, and I'm happy to speak more offline. With that, I'll move the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We'll have a roll call.
Authority members Ajinian,
Yes.
Karpetian,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Parazian,
Yes.
Chair Asatian, and Vice Chair Brotman.
Yes. And what is next?
Next is oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for Investigation and Report. We do have one speaker on this item.
Okay, let's hear from the speaker.
Beth Brooks. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I did read the minutes. I do know everything you said. I would say that what I am talking about is rental assistance. I am talking that you have to talk to renters. You have to have a renter's commission. You have to have a renter's commission. This is not it. Even if you have renters here, this is not it. People need help. They need help because the compounding is killing them. The $1,000 that they paid years ago, that was 8% or 9%. When you add it every year, it's becoming untenable. People can't go on. And I know you don't want to entertain the idea of giving a basic universal income, I know, but you know what, at this point, for people who do not have the opportunity to go to work anymore, who are disabled, who are elderly, you need to help them. It's out of control. 8% is too much. I know that mom and pop landlords, I feel for them. I really do. People have spoken to me about that, who are people I respect, who I consider, brilliant and wonderful and caring people. And they're like, no, this is going to hurt us. We own property. This is very hard for us. But you have to understand that at a certain point, we have to freeze and go, what are we all doing? It's like the train keeps going, but we don't know where we're going. And I do think one of those things is a rental registry. And I will tell you what I think about that. I actually think you should have a rental registry, and the fee should be $1. You should have landlords pay $1, because I think the most important thing is to register the units. Not even to get the money yet, which I think could be a penalty if you're not registering. That's where you get the money, because everybody keeps saying to me, no, but they'll pass it on to the renters, they'll pass it on to, make it $1, make it 50 cents, make it $5. It doesn't matter. You need the information, okay? Less than you need the money. You need the money, but you need the information. We need to know what is going on Central and Brand. That AMLI, AMLI, that's all corporate housing. What is happening there? Are there Airbnbs there? Is there short-term housing? Because we keep saying we need housing. We have it, and people aren't going in there. So, and what people don't notice either is that just because we don't have racial gentrification, we're having gentrification. If you look at the census map that was in, I think, for the next meeting of income, most of Glendale, below Kenneth and below Glenwood, is low income and very low income, and then a little pocket of extremely low income. So those developments are actually going to push out everybody who lives under there. So just because you don't notice it, like, I grew up in New York. My father was a real estate agent in Harlem. Like, I know what gentrification is. And you don't notice it here in the same way because it's not so evident. So I'm telling you, this is a serious issue. You need a renter's commission. You need a rental registry for $1. You could put in a high penalty. I think that would actually get more compliance. And that's what I would say. I think you really have to, and I think you do have to cap the rent increases the way Burbank just did. I do, but I think it should be very temporary, and you have to be careful of evictions. And I have a lot to say about, that there hasn't been rental assistance except for the money coming from the county, which I found that your decision on that was very bad. I actually don't agree with giving 6 months of money to people who have eviction notices. I think you could pay 1 month, and that's it, because if you can't get your act together after that, unless there was something serious that happened to you, because I know that that's Mr. Brotman's big thing about, paying off evictions, 6 months, you're incentivizing people to not pay their rent. I struggle to pay my rent, but I pay my rent. You cannot incentivize people to take advantage of a system if you make it easy for them. So as much as I am a renter's advocate, I am very, very much against that. And I am only in favor of helping the worst cases. And those would be people who really, really cannot help themselves. If you're able-bodied, you know, get to work. I'm sorry, and if you're not able-bodied, you need to help the people who really cannot help themselves. And that's what I'm talking about. I know what the summit was. I did read the minutes. I do try to educate myself about that. You know that. You know me. I'm not, I mean, I can go on, for hours reading too much. But, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. What is next?
Next is authority member and staff comments.
Comments from my colleagues? No. Okay. No comments. We will move on to adjournment.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned at 3:17 p.m.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the November 18th, 2025 joint meeting of the Glendale City Council and the Glendale Housing Authority. May we have roll call for the council?
Yes. Council members Asadrian, Brotman,
Here.
Karpetian,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Mayor Najarian.
Here.
And roll call for the Housing Authority, please.
Housing Authority members Ajinian,
Here.
Brotman,
Here.
Karpetian,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Parazian, Chair Asadrian.
Thank you. May we have your report?
Yes, the agenda for Tuesday, November 18th, 2025, joint public meeting of the City Council and Housing Authority was posted on November 13th, 2025, on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. What's the first item?
The first item is community development regarding transfer of reserve amount funds to Link 328 Mira Loma LLC, the new owner of Metro Loma, an affordable housing project located at 328 Mira Loma Avenue. One, council resolution of appropriation in amount of $65,838.76, and two, city council motion authorizing release of funds.
Mr. Galanian.
So, good afternoon, Mayor Najarian, members of City Council, Housing Vice Chair Brotman, members of the Housing Authority. Metro Loma is an affordable rental housing tax credit project, as you may know. And in June of this year, the Housing Authority purchased a note held by CCRC, the California Community Reinvestment Corporation. That was the first lender, and after which they defaulted on the loan. And they released the funds that was held in a reserve account to the Housing Authority upon the purchase of that property. In August of this year, the Housing Authority approved Link 328 Mira Loma LLC as the new owner and National Core as the new management company. Therefore, now we are seeking your approval to transfer the funds that were previously held by CCRC from the reserve account to the new owner with a resolution of appropriation. If you have any questions or would like more details, Mike Fortney, our Deputy Director of Community Development, is available.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments on this item? There are none. Is there a motion?
Move the item.
They're both council. One's a resolution, one is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Let's take roll call, please.
Council members Asatrian, Brotman,
Yes.
Karpetian,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. Next item, please.
Next item is item 2, Community Services and Parks, regarding status of program planning for the fiscal year 2026-2027 Community Development Block Grant, Emergency Resolutions Grant, and Home Investment Partnerships Act Annual Action Plan. 1, City Council motion approving the fiscal year 2026-2027 CDBG program priorities and fiscal year 26-27 proposed CDBG funding allocation plan by funding category and issuance of an RFP to community agencies for CDBG Public Social Services and CDBG Capital Improvement Projects. 2, Housing Authority motion approving the fiscal year 26-27 CDBG program priorities and fiscal year 26-27 proposed CDBG funding allocation plan by funding category and issuance of an RFP to community agencies for CDBG Public Social Services and CDBG Capital Improvement Projects.
Mr. Galanian.
Yes, Mayor Najarian, members of City Council, Housing Vice Chair Brotman, members of the Housing Authority. I'm just going to invite Maggie Kavarian, our Community Services Manager, at the podium to present this annual action plan.
Good afternoon, Mayor Najarian, members of the City Council, members of the Housing Authority. I have a very short presentation for you regarding our 26-27 program planning of CDBG ESG and the Home Program. The purpose for program planning is to determine our annual action plan for the upcoming year in 26-27. We're also proposing a funding allocation plan for the upcoming year, and then we'd like to issue an RFP to our community agencies for public social services and our capital improvement projects for the upcoming year. And then the methodology we use for program priorities. We hosted a community meeting on October 1st. We also asked for input from residents via email and telephone. We received 6 email responses. We also did community outreach to our schools, our colleges, our nonprofits, and then we also do a data analysis each year. We had a very unique year this year. We didn't have anyone come to the community meeting this year as opposed to last year where we had over 120 people show up. And as for the data analysis, due to the government shutdown, most of the data analysis that we have is from last year because the U.S. Census had shut down their website during that time frame. So what we did was we used much of what our 5-year consolidated plan information that we had captured last year, which was very intensive, and we included that in the 26-27 program priorities, which are on this slide 5. So therefore, there's public facilities, public social services, public and neighborhood improvement, subcategories, housing, special needs housing, and homeless services. So all of this is a program priority for agencies to consider when applying for funding. Regarding CDBG, ESG, and home, these are just estimates that we are putting forth before you. We will not get our final entitlement until spring of 2026. So for CDBG, we're anticipating about 1.7 million, not too much of a change from last year. Emergency Solutions Grant, we are anticipating 155,000, and for the Home Partnership Program, 1,250,000, a little bit lower than we have received in the past. So we're looking at a total of about $3.1 million in funding from HUD that will be coming to us next year. And then the breakdown for the CDBG funding allocation plan, 20% of that will be going towards program administration. The 15% public social services, we're going to be setting aside $255,000 for public social services and for our nonprofits to apply for that via request for proposal process. And then for capital improvement projects, which is 65% of the total of that 1.7 million, we are setting aside $1.1 million for community agencies to apply. As you can see, we usually have city pre-designated parks programs. This year, we put everything into the community agency and have that be RFP'd out. However, we will come back in spring if we have undesignated fund balance, and we will apply that to a city project. Oops. And then just to give you a CDBG RFP proposal timeline, in September, we hosted a CDBG open house. We had 14 attendees from various nonprofits. They came, they listened, and they are interested in applying for CDBG funding. Tomorrow, if this moves forward, we will be issuing the RFP and letting the nonprofits in our community know about the funding opportunity that is coming. And then we will have a mandatory in-person technical assistance workshop on December 8th, Monday. And we will be inviting the nonprofits to attend so they can have a link to the RFP and go ahead and submit a RFP via Zoom grants. On January 9th, 2026, that is our due date for both capital improvement and public social services applications. This completes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Garpetian?
Yes, what is our budget this year? 3.1?
We are looking at 3.1 million, but these are estimates, Councilmember Garpetian. We won't know the final numbers till spring of 2026.
So we are allocating 20% towards administration, 15% social services, and 60%, 65% for capital improvement projects. That's ending up to be 1.7 million?
Correct.
3, 6. Okay, and that community agency CIP is our own projects?
Those will be community agencies, which are nonprofits in our area that we will be issuing the RFP for that 1.1 million.
I'm sorry, one more time.
So the $1.1 million that we've set aside for capital improvement will be released for community agencies, which are nonprofits in our area that can apply for that funding.
Can you give me an example of one?
We have two currently, the YWCA of Glendale, which has a project in the pipeline, as well as Home Enetman Arat, which has a project in the pipeline, and Catholic Charities right now has a project in the pipeline.
And the capital improvement projects, these are, which one is, that's our projects?
These are projects that the community agencies, the facilities that they run, are requesting funding for. City projects usually end up being parks projects that we
Okay,
have.
got it, okay. So these two numbers are the same, okay, I understand.
So my,
Yes.
so my understand, I'm sorry, Mr. Garpetian, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
So my understanding is that normally in the past, we put our marker on the table and we say, we want some CDBG funding for some of our projects. And this year, the city won't be dipping into this federal allocation. So more of it is available for the nonprofits, for CIP, their actual capital improvements to their facilities, elevator, ADA ramp, whatever else. So my question is this, how did we determine that exact figure?
So each year we decide, we get together with the community, with our Community Services and Parks Department. We look at our capital improvement needs and we see where we're at. And at this time, we have quite a few projects in the South Glendale area that are still pending. And due to that, we are waiting on additional possible projects in the future. Now, we are anticipating some undesignated fund balance, but we can't be sure of that until spring. So during springtime, we most likely will come back to the City Council and Housing Authority and request additional funds through the undesignated fund balance, possibly for master planning. But at this time, right now, the money will be going towards community agencies.
I'm very happy to see that the community organizations will have an opportunity to apply for these. But given kind of the uncertainty of the current economic situation, is there a way for, can we as a council say, well, 100 or 1.1 million is too much, maybe we do just 1 million and transfer 100,000 to the social services programs that may need that? Because I think the capital improvements, sure, they can make justifications for them, But I'm anticipating a lot more of a need from families and individuals who are going to be perhaps facing hardships in the coming year. In fact,
That's-
maybe if we do more.
That's an excellent point. Mayor Najarian, members of the City Council, Councilmember Kasakian, there is a 15% cap on public social services, and this is something that we have been talking to our association. We have a National Community Development Association that's been working with not only our municipality, but municipalities throughout the United States, and this is our number one issue. Why is there a cap of 15%? That cap needs to be lifted. That is something that is in discussion right now at the federal level. They're pushing for 20%. But at this time, it's 15%, and we really can't go above that due to the requirement.
Thank you. Yes. Mr.
Yes, on the RFP proposal timeline on page 8, or slide 8, the issuance is tomorrow, I understand, right? And the due date is the 9th of January. So when is the actual awarding date of the RFP?
Well, that's a great question. After the submission of those proposals are done, the city staff will review those proposals, and then we will take it to our CDBG advisory committee, and they will interview those folks in the nonprofits, and then they make recommendations. After they make their recommendations, we come back to the City Council and Housing Authority and ask for the final approval of those numbers.
So you're looking towards spring?
We are looking towards possible May to June.
Okay.
Question or two?
I have a question just on CDBG. On the October 1st, in community meeting, was offered to have on-site, free on-site childcare. Is this something new?
That's a great question. It is not new. It's something that we've been offering for quite a few years. The on-site childcare, we feel, will bring in more families, so we can hear from families and what their needs are, especially families with young children. So this is something that we've been offering, and because we are part of the Parks program, it's a lot easier to have that participation with the staffing that we have.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah, just a couple of questions. First of all, you said, I was surprised when you said something about nobody showed up at the meeting. And last year was how many? 100?
So,
Yeah, what happened? Why did that happen?
Our numbers have constantly been dwindling down. We've always offered in-person as well as virtual. And when we did the in-person and virtual, we noticed that we were kind of spacing it out, and we weren't getting enough responses between in-person and virtual. So then we made it all in person. Now, last year, that was the year of our consolidated plan. That's our 5-year plan, and we really have to prepare for that. Because of that, we had set aside quite a few dollars, and we had our in-and-out truck come. So because we offered childcare and hamburgers, we had over 120 people come and participate. Unfortunately, we don't have the kind of funds to do that each year. And we are looking at new ways to possibly get people in, and that's something that we're kind of collaborating on for 27, 28, and hoping that we get more people in.
Wow, so we had 0?
0, first time ever.
Wow. Okay, so it's about hamburgers, huh? Okay. I had just a couple other little things. So I know this afternoon we're going to be talking about the Wilson Mini Park playground equipment, and that's is that the one that's CDBG funded?
I believe it's elk.
Yeah. And it's elk. Okay, one of them I know was CDBG, and the other one was Measure A. But why isn't that showing up here, or is that from last year's CDBG?
That's from last year, so that's our 25, 26 funding.
Okay, I just want to check that. And then the last thing is, I thought Door of Hope was applying for something. Is that not CDBG? Is that some other bucket?
Door of Hope has funding in our public social services program, but they also are working with our housing division on expansion of their women's shelter.
Okay, that's what I meant. It's a capital project, but it's not through, it's not, so
It
they're not
is-
coming to CDBG for
They
that?
did originally, but we didn't have the funding, so we had referred them to the housing division.
Okay. And that's not home, that's not any of these buckets that we
I'm not
have
sure. I
here?
believe there might be home program, but I'm not sure exactly what the funding sources are for that project. They have multiple funding sources from what I remember.
Okay.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, are there any public comments? Yes.
I have one more question before that.
Okay, let's recognize Mr. President.
So currently, we're budgeting for 1.7 million, but it could be more? Is that what I'm hearing? Because the report says 3.1 million, and we have 1.7 million, so that's what I want
So
to
just to
understand.
clarify, Councilmember Garpetian, the 3.1 million includes CDBG, the ESG, and the home program. So that we have 3 HUD programs that are combined. The 1.7 million is CDBG standalone. That 1.7 is just for community development block grant.
And the other two programs? And the other two programs, how do people apply to those?
So
those?
for instance, the ESG program, that's a 2-year grant, that $155,000, that's done through our homeless services section. They're on their 2nd year of a 2-year grant. So they'll have a release of an RFP next year when we come back to you. Now, the home program comes directly to the Housing Authority, and the discussions are done here at the Housing Authority to figure out how to purpose that money.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we have a council,
I'll move, I'll move
I
to,
have 2 public comments.
oh, I forgot about them. Okay, sorry. Yes,
Our
that's right.
first public comment is by Beth Brooks. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad the allocation question was explained, because that's crazy, that it would be so little to social services and so much to capital improvements. If you look at what kind of money we're talking about more than $400,000 for bathroom renovations. We're talking about painting. I mean, I live a couple of blocks away from the YWCA, and they basically have neglected that property like crazy. I mean, it's just something, they don't even clean up the weeds. So they're getting more than $600,000. So my question is there any legal way, you know, the way we had like a sponsorship for Glendale Out with the Arts Council, is there any way for a capital improvement project that a nonprofit can apply, get the money, but divert that money to a different organization? Because a lot of these people who can respond to these RFPs, which are quite technical, typically have a lot of private funding. You know what I mean? They have philanthropists who are behind those organizations, and there are small places that may need upgrading, and they can't get somebody to fill out that technical RFP for them. Is there any legal way they could be sponsored by a larger organization? So some little group that helps community members in South Glendale, or, you know, something like that. Is there like a legal kind of way to get around that they could be a sponsor for a different organization? They can partner with them, or they can, you know, be a sister organization. Because if you have a nonprofit, I believe that you don't have to start another nonprofit if you could sort of tag on to a parent nonprofit. I don't know. I have to investigate that a little further. If there isn't such a thing, there should be such a thing. But that's my question, because it would open it up to more smaller organizations that could get money, that need the money. Because I'm not a believer in somebody getting almost $500,000 to renovate their bathrooms when they've already got, you know, they've got big donors behind them. I'm just not for that. There are a lot of little people who, you know. Anyway, that's my question. Can you get around that? And my other comment is, we see the outreach. I mean, we see the problem with outreach again, and I think you have to activate the public. There are all these HOAs who keep offering their services, and they put together these incredible presentations and meetings and graphics. I mean, these guys are amazing. I don't know who, you know, who's doing their, you know, their work, but they're really specialists. You really have to activate them, because on our own, the public, we're not doing a good job. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have one caller. The caller is Fernando Roldan. You're on air. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I know the topic is going to be lots of parts, and for right now in this meeting and also on the council meeting. My advice, since you folks are talking about nonprofits, I do ask, please, as a resident of Glendale and as a person with a disability, please also include numerous groups with or organizations with disabilities, especially the independent living centers. Van Nuys Independent Living Center is your closest ally, and of course in downtown LA, you have CALI, Communities Actively Living Independently Free. I do ask the mayor and the council to be considerate because, of course, unfortunately, with my organization, CalLife, there are a lot of issues with the parks that we're facing, especially in the greater Los Angeles area, which, of course, I visited. And I ask for some of us to be included in this so we can help you out. And as usual, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, that's just my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Thank you, and that is all.
Thank you. And just briefly, I guess, to some of the comments by Ms. Brooks, that I guess the analysis and consideration of other funding sources by certain applicants is something that the CDBG Commission should and does take into account while they decide who gets the money. It is very tough. Usually that's oversubscribed by a significant amount. And if I'm not mistaken, I do recall that was one of the things they think about if a requester has other sources of funding compared to another that does not, that they will take that into account. As far as I think there's probably some pretty strict rules as to how that money can be used and who can pass it on. So I'm not sure that that's viable, but I'm quite certain there are groups that will assist in the application project, if not our own staff. I mean, if our own staff was approached by an applicant and said, hey, I need help, can you explain it? I know that Maggie and her staff has been very accommodating to that. And if I have any of that wrong, please correct me, but I think basically that's our situation. Okay, thank you for the comments. So there was a council motion.
I'll move the council item.
I'll second for council.
Let's take roll call for council.
Council members Asadrian, Brotman,
Yes.
Karpetian,
Yes.
Kasakian, Mayor Najarian.
Yes.
And I'll make the motion for housing.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Housing Authority members Ajinian,
Yes.
Karpetian,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Parazian,
Yes.
Chair Asatrian, and Vice Chair Brotman.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. That concludes our business. Is there a motion to adjourn for council?
So moved.
Second. Adjournment for housing.
Second.
Okay, we're adjourned.
All adjourned.
We got closed session, right? We're going to read into the record.
Okay. Welcome to the Glendale City Council meeting, November 18th, 2025. Closed session agendas. May we have roll call?
Yes, council members Asadrian, Brotman,
Here.
Karpetian,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Mayor Najarian.
Here. Will you please read the closed session items?
Yes. Item A is conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, 2 cases brought by Central BWP LLC. B, anticipated litigation, 1 potential case. C, existing litigation, Hanyan.
And Mr. City Attorney, do you anticipate reporting out?
We do not anticipate reporting out, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we will recess to closed session.
You?